To do it straight away, it was an amazing feel to be part of that club. All my Christmases come at once. Very grateful to be part of that squad.
I want to mention one name, Johnny Wilkinson.
Mate, I don't like that name. I haven't watched that game again.
Yeah.
The lure of the World Cup and playing in a World Cup in Australia, I'm not going to lie, mate, the money was good too.
Yeah.
And I jumped.
I'm here with dual code international Lote Tuqiri, and we're just going to have a chat about his illustrious career. Let's start at the start. I've done a bit of research, into your life, mate, and you're a very family-orientated man. Your family sacrificed a lot as a young kid.
Yep.
What's your first memories of some of those sacrifices they made?
First they made was leaving Fiji. I obviously wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have represented Australia. Would have done what I've done on a sporting field without my dad and mum sacrificing their own life and wanting a better life for their kids. Going into a foreign country where they couldn't even speak the language and have to assimilate into a culture they had no idea about. So I've made a lot of sacrifices back then, and I'm really thankful, mate.
So, Lote, you moved to Australia when you were 4 years old.
Yep.
But you didn't play any sort of competitive footy till you were about 15.
Till about 15.
Talk to us about the next step. So, in the next couple of years, how did you eventually get into that Broncos system?
So at that age, kids are either stay in the game or they find girlfriends, or they've played a long time since they were under 7s or whatever. Got picked up by the Broncos at under 16s, playing in the centres at Logan Brothers. And then from under 16s went into the Broncos system at the end of school when I was 17, and then was lucky enough to play first grade when I was 19, a couple of years later.
So first year you win Rookie of the Year, straight to the top.
It's pretty cool.
Stardom straight away. The next year, you win a grand final.
Yeah, I know. Amazing.
I was never lucky enough to do it, mate, and obviously that burns me to this day.
Yep.
How was that feeling when you got to do that with that group of players?
To do it straight away, I was very lucky, as I told you earlier, mate, to come into a system where there was an amazing group of players. It was an amazing feel to be part of that club. All my Christmases come at once. Very grateful to be part of that squad.
That year, you captained Fiji.
That was cool.
Which is probably one of the biggest moments.
Mate,
you already had plenty of big moments.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, you're very proud of where you're from.
It was amazing. Proud of my country of birth, country heritage, and the pride that it instills in you to put on the Fiji Batik jersey was cool. And together, captain, see beside your name, 2000 World Cup. We didn't win too many games, but to have that and to have that experience and playing and representing Fiji is still up there in top 3 experiences for me as a footy player.
So, mate, 2001 hits and you get selected for Queensland. I can only imagine, you've nearly done it all, mate.
Another.
But you know that, Queensland and Origin is probably up there with the pinnacle of the game.
Yep.
How did you find the difference between Origin and NRL?
Yeah, well, when you grow up, as I said, I came when I was 4 and was quickly indoctrinated into State of Origin. Watching Wally Lowers play, watching Mal Meninga play, and watching them do their thing in that Queensland jersey, and then to get that opportunity in 2001, to get that call up, immense sense of pride. Again, probably up there, when you're in a representative jersey, amazing time for me.
So, Lote, 2002 hits, you've done everything in the game.
Yep.
The end of 2002, you signed with the Waratahs. First of all, I just want to know what made you make that decision.
I always said to myself I was going to get, at some point in my career I wanted to play rugby, and the 2003 Rugby World Cup was going to be in Australia. Wendell and Matt Rogers had jumped over, and they were going all right. It was really hard to leave Brisbane after what I'd done and my experiences there. But the lure of the World Cup and playing in a World Cup in Australia was probably too big to refuse. And I'm not going to lie, mate, the money was good too. It was probably, 3 or 4 times as much as I was on in Brisbane, and I was renegotiating a contract as well with the Broncos, and it just wasn't comparable.
Yep.
This is money that sort of changes your life.
Yeah.
And I jumped.
You're a leaguey going over to Union. did they make you feel like a bit of an outsider? Because really, they might be thinking you're going over there to take their spot, or did they embrace you straight away?
No, I think I felt more of that sort of stuff within the press. They ramped that up in the press a little bit more than what it really was. I got there. They were footy team. Boys look after each other.
Yep.
It was pretty much the same. So it was a bit of a relief when that happened. And great bunch of blokes. I've still got really good bunch of mates from playing rugby. We only went to the 20-year reunion a couple of days ago for the 2003 World Cup. So great bunch of blokes. A few blokes I played in there with are now the president and the CEO. So, you know, for friends in high places.
Mate, you speak about that World Cup. I want to mention one name, and I just want you to tell me how it makes you feel.
Yep.
Johnny Wilkinson.
Mate, I don't like that name. Yeah, we went over that the other day. Well, I haven't watched that game again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak, mate. He's a freak. To kick a ball off his right foot in a final, you know, a non-dominant foot, and hit the winning field goal. He's an amazing player. I got carried that year.
Yep.
Ended up in Reggie's, thinking, what's going on? This is how I'm going to go out. It was the way I was going to go out.
Yeah.
To win on my last year, my last game, and to have my kids go around the stadium with me is probably the best memory I have. To share it with them was amazing.
So, mate, a few more years in rugby, but then you decided to come back to the great game, back to the West Tigers, mate. So, did you miss rugby league, or did you just get over union, mate? What made that decision?
Oh no. Well, I missed it a little bit. I still think I had a point to prove. I went over and did a little stint at the Leicester Tigers in rugby, and I loved it. It was a great time. Could have stayed there for a long time. The Tigers came calling. Their team was on the rise at the time. They were definitely knocking on the door. They had blokes that could play footy. Benji, Robbie have played a great style.
Yeah.
And I genuinely watched them play footy and thought they could be pretty cool to be a part of.
You know, a few years at the Tigers in 2014, you signed with one of the biggest clubs in the NRL in South Sydney.
Yep.
They had been in a massive drought, hadn't won a comp in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
How was that, mate? Coming from the Tigers, was it different type of club?
Totally different. I'd gone to Leinster in Ireland and came back to do a late pre-season here.
Yeah.
Get back to the Bunnies. They're in a great squad. They've had a couple of years, probably the same as the last couple, where they've got to the prelim and got knocked out.
Yep.
Yeah, so the big thing in the pre-season was about the head noise around in those big games.
Yep.
And I think I probably helped a little bit more around the head noise of blokes, because I didn't have the history of that.
Yeah.
So that's what I think I brought to that premiership year, and to win on my last year, my last game, and to have my kids go around the stadium with me is probably the best memory I have, and to share it with them was amazing. I got carried that year.
Yeah, wow.
Played the first 4 games, got dropped, ended up in Reggie's for about 9-10 weeks out of North Sydney, thinking, what's going on? This is how I'm going to go out. It was big.
Yeah.
It was the way I was going to go out.
Yeah.
Someone gets injured. I think Joe Reddy got injured. Gave me a chance to get back in. And then when I got back in, I said to myself, I'm not going to let, it's my last chance.
Yeah.
And do everything possible to stay here. Do everything right. And then I got that. We go on a run. And we get to the GF and play you guys, mate.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. Someone here wants to talk about that and someone doesn't. Mate, look, my final question. We talk about legacy a lot in rugby league.
Yeah.
Hearing your story, I think you've probably got one of the best legacies to be left, and you're a credit to yourself,
Thanks,
your country, and your family, mate. Lote Tuqiri right now, what did you want to be remembered for as a player and a person?
A player and a person. I just wanted to be a good teammate. I was taught that young. I just wanted to be remembered for, putting in for your mates, putting in for your team, doing what needed to be done, and the example of smile on your face, turning up with a good attitude, and wanting to enjoy your session. As you know, mate, when you're playing footy, for me anyway, your sanctuary is the footy field. You said whatever you got going on, you turn up the training. That's what I found sort of a bit hard when you go into a workforce. You can turn up to 30 blokes, just yahoo and carry on, right?
Yeah, it's true, mate.
And then you know that's something you just don't get now.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do miss, but yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very special game, mate, and
Mate,
as you just said, you probably don't realise how good it is till it's gone. Now it's gone, and I wish I was in the sheds and in the WhatsApp groups and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Well, you're still there, mate.
Yeah,
so.
I'm hanging in there a little bit, but mate, honestly, if it means anything, I think you're a legend, mate.
Thanks,
so
buddy.
thanks for letting us into your life, brother.
Appreciate that, brother.
Cheers, man.
Thanks,
Thanks
mate.
a lot. Cheers, mate.